strengths and weaknesses are and where you can build on your knowledge base to improve for your future career. Okay, so it's about development activities. So it's building on your CPD that way. It's about logging your activities. We all know that you're doing your CPD every day, you know, because in health and safety careers, you wouldn't be able to do your job if you weren't keeping up to date with all the knowledge that's about. You know, we know you are taking part in CPD. It's a case of recording it, you know, you need to log it, you need to record it within your own development. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. The most important part of your CPD is reflect on what you've done. Now, what we mean by reflection is having a look at what you did and why you did it. Why did you do it in the first place? Why was it important for you to do that activity? Okay, but then what did you learn from it? How can you use it going forward? Okay, anyone can list a lot of activities within their CPD record. You know, you can put it in the right box, but what is that going to give you? It's not going to give you anything. If you reflect on what you've done and you're going to use it as a springboard to go forward and develop you in other areas, that's what the reflection is for, okay? So you get that value back to yourself in that way. CPD is open to all our categories of membership. You know, anyone can do it once they join. It's Tech IOSH members, grad members, chartered fellows, actually bound by the IOSH Code of Conduct to carry out your CPD. So what value is it to you? As I said, it is one of our benefits of IOSH membership, and we want you to use it as a benefit to you as well, to help you within your career. As I said, it helps to highlight gaps in your knowledge, your skills and your experience. Okay? It builds confidence and credibility as well, because you can track your learning progress as well on there. You can also take it into your appraisal if you have reviews, appraisals at work with your line manager. It's a tool for you to use then. You know, we have put a download feature on it, a print feature on it. Take it along with you. Show what you've achieved within a year. It also can help you maximise your earning potential. You know, CPD can be something that makes you look at where you want to go. Perhaps there is a promotion you want to achieve. CPD is going to help you get there. And also it shows that you're also maintaining your skills. You know, it's not all about new learning. You do need to maintain your skills and knowledge as well. Okay, so you're not sitting in the same position all the time. It also can benefit your organisation. So perhaps your employer is asking why you need to do that course or you need to do that activity. You know, you can always say this does benefit the organisation. It maximises staff potential because it links your learning actions to theory to practice. It also can help the HR professionals to set smart objectives. It can promote better staff morale and it motivates the workforce. And it's a positive brand to other organisations. And also, again, linking it back to the appraisal process, you know, it can show your individual achievements throughout the year. So a little bit about membership categories, if you're not aware. We have got the affiliate member, that's the entry level. Everybody joins at affiliate member, regardless of qualifications and experience, and that's where you all would have come in at. CPD is recommended at this stage. Okay, associate member is sort of a transitional category, so you're not actually sitting there for long. Associate members, when you've got a level 3 qualification in health and safety that we accredit, not necessarily the health and safety experience that's required for tech, but you will get there eventually. Technical members, the level 3 qualification again, 2 years full-time experience or 3 to 5 years part-time experience in safety and health, and at this stage your CPD becomes obligatory, something that you need to do for your IOSH membership. Then we have the graduate membership, which is a degree level qualification or equivalent, and again CPD is obligatory. And then it's at the grad stage that some of you are that you do IPD to get to chartered member. And as on successful completion of the IPD process, you do a CPD audit, peer review interview, but I'll talk about that later, to become chartered member. And again, as with chartered fellow, CPD is obligatory. Okay, so what we all want to know then, how do I maintain a successful CPD record? Okay. So the first thing you have to do, if you've not already done it, is create a development plan. If you haven't done this, you will get a yellow flashing box come up when you log in, okay, asking you to create a development plan. Now, a development plan, what you're looking at is your present role and responsibilities. So what you need to do is put a little paragraph in about your roles and responsibilities that you do at the moment. Some people will want to copy and paste their job description in there. That's fine if you want to do that as well. But what we're looking for as well is objectives. What do you want to achieve over the next 6 to 12 months? Doesn't even have to be that long if you don't want to. If you want to do a development plan for 3 months, do that. A lot can change within a year. You know, everything changes all the time. So you don't have to plan for long, but have a look at your objectives and see what you want to achieve, okay? And then look at where your strengths and weaknesses and areas of improvement are, okay? So maybe you're at a stage where you've done a qualification and you want to mention that in there, but you want to build on that by bringing it into your workplace and building on those experience and knowledge you've gained within that qualification. Okay? But I'll show you how to add a development plan when we go into the online demonstration. So what I was talking about before, once you've added an activity, and an activity can be anything, okay, that's updating or maintaining your knowledge and skills, okay? It doesn't have to be a training course, it doesn't have to be a qualification, it can be everyday activities that you're completing, okay? Perhaps you are putting a health and safety committee meeting together, you're planning a meeting, you know, something like that can be in your CPD. Perhaps you're doing some research for a presentation you've got to give, that can be CPD. Today's event can be CPD, you know, you're learning about this can go into that record. If you're carrying out a risk assessment review, you know, you've got to look at legislation, you've got to look at codes, best practice, things like that. That can all be CPD. If you're mentoring others, that can be your own personal development as well, okay? Now, reflective statement, as we say, is the most important part of your CPD. Once you've added the title, you've added the date you did it, you've added the status, whether it's started, finished, cancelled, planned, you need to add your notes. This goes into the notes, the reflective statement. You put what the activity was, what was it, okay? Why you decided to carry it out, why did you do it in the first place? What were your objectives? What did you gain from the activity, the most important part? What did you learn from it? What was the benefit you got from doing it? You know, there must be a reason why you did it in the first place. You must have had expectations from that activity. Did it meet those expectations? What did you learn from doing it? And perhaps how will you use that knowledge you gained in the future? You know, perhaps how do you disseminate it throughout your organisation? Or perhaps you're going to use it going forward, you know? We're not asking for war and peace within the reflective account. We're just asking for a couple of small paragraphs with those points in. Okay. So we have made some updates for our members once we've had feedback. Make it a little bit easier to record. Okay. Some people might remember you used to have to do it in 3 yearly cycles. No longer applies. The CPD you've got open at the moment will always remain open for you. There won't be a deadline, there won't be an end date. It just carries on, okay? You don't need to worry about any points, any credits. They no longer apply. You don't need to worry about that at all. We no longer have that in place. All that's there is we've got tick boxes. So once you've added an activity, all you need to do is tick the relevant box you want to save it in, okay? Again, I will go through that with the online demonstration for you all. Okay, so section A, that's there for your development plan. That's all that needs to go into section A. It's all about your development plan and where you're going. B, C and D are for your activities. Okay, so B, you've got new professional skills, C, maintenance of skills, and D is management transferable skills. What we mean by management transferable skills, perhaps you are in a management position, you know, and there is other employees that you have in a team and you want to pass on your knowledge to them, that can go in there. Transferable skills as well is non-health and safety related work. So don't think CPD, IOSH CPD is all about health and safety. You know, you can put things in there that's non-health and safety related. I know a lot of people have health and safety in their job, but they'll also have quality, environment, you know, you have different hats as well. Perhaps facilities management, people do waste management, even perhaps you're just learning a bit more about Excel or your computer or presentation skills course. You know, all that can go, that is all CPD. It's all adding to your career, your knowledge, your skills, you know, adding to your strengths. Use it within your CPD. Okay, so we wanted to put together a structured approach for our members for their CPD. The common feedback we get is I just don't have enough time. And what we wanted to do is put something together to help members to create that time, you know, and have a structure towards CPD. So that's why we've brought the planner in place. I know that's just a little booklet, but if anyone wanted a proper electronic copy, you know, you can always contact us in the office and we can email that to you. Okay, that's not a problem. Divide your year into quarters is the best thing to do. We recommend that you perhaps go to record it once every 3 months. You know, set aside 30 to 45 minutes once every 3 months to sit down and just record your CPD. If you want to do it more regular than that, that's fine. But you know, it shouldn't take longer than that. That's all we're asking for, you know. And it's all about reviewing, recording and reflecting. But if you want to use it as a diary, you know, you can have planned activities in there. Use it as a diary, see what's coming up. Perhaps you've got something coming up in March and you want to put it onto your CPD. Put it on there, mark it as planned. And then once you go back into it after 3 months' time, you remember what you had planned and what you've achieved in that time. Okay, so this is, if people aren't familiar with this My IOSH, this is basically it. Now, what you need to ensure if you are having trouble logging in is to make sure that we've got the same email address for you that you're using to log in. If that's recently changed, you've updated anything, please do let us know. It has to be the same. So that's your username, is your email address. Your password is what you've made up yourself when you first register. If you have forgotten it, there is a forgotten password link when on the top right hand corner. If that doesn't work, then you know you can contact us, but you can put your email address in there and it will send you a link to reset your password again yourself. Okay, so once you go in, you'll see this page. You've got My CPD top left there, and then you need to click on Update Your CPD Online Now in the middle there. We'll show you that in a minute. And that's what your CPD will look like. You'll have your name at the top, and then you'll have the date you started just under there in the middle section. Sorry, I'm not allowed to move the camera's on me, but I would point it out otherwise. You've got expand all sections in the blue, you've got collapse all sections. As I was saying, you've got the print section and download all as well. And then next to each activity you've added, you've got a little download button as well for you, okay. Any questions on that at all? Yeah.
Once you've done a development plan,
yeah.
how often should you be updating that, or does it just stay there?
It's when things change, really. So when you go in after 3 months' time after putting in your development plan, if anything's changed, aims and objectives have changed, or anything within your career's changed, pop it in there. It depends how long you've planned for. You know, it's not, nothing's going to stay the same for 5 years, is it? You know, even if you're in the same job, you're going to work with different people. You're going to perhaps be doing more stuff. I mean, you know, these days everybody has a lot more roles and responsibilities than they had 5 more years ago. I know I have. That is up to you, because you know, once you've got a development plan, what I say to people is perhaps put the end date as 6 months' time, then go into it, review it after 6 months, add something else as a new paragraph, date it within the notes section, and then you're keeping that up to date as well. Because if you ever were to say progressing categories or something else, and we did look at your CPD, you know, you need to have an up-to-date development plan to be compliant. Okay?
So you need it to do IPD.
You
or
do.
to fellowship.
You do.
You don't actually need to update it other than that.
I would keep it up to date, yeah. Yeah. It's best practice too. And I think especially someone who's on the branch, it's probably best to keep it best practice rather than to give a good example to the members. Yeah.
Sorry, do you still audit the CPD?
5% of our members do get audited, yes. You will be alerted if you were to get audited, so don't panic. But that is another reason we do send frequent reminders out to yourselves. Did you have a...
What's the significance of the different subheadings? I tend to just put everything in one heading.
Right, okay. I mean, it's totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way of inputting it. As long as you've only got development planning section A, you've got B is maintenance of skills, and C is new professional skills. They're quite the common two people use. Obviously, if you're just maintaining your skills, put it into B. If they're new professional skills, put it into C. Or they can go in both. You know, you can tick both or all three. So you can do D as well if you want it in every box.
Sorry, I just don't understand the significance as to why there are three headings.
It's just so it's more structured for you, really. So if you're looking at progressing on new professional skills, seeing what you've already got in there, you know, you can go straight to that section. Whereas if it's all in one box, you might have just a massive one long list. So it's easier to find.
Statement was made earlier on that 60% of this branch were actually inputting information into the wrong sections. So what he's saying, obviously, yeah, what is the significance of what you're...
60% are not inputting any information.
Right, okay.
That's what we said earlier on.
Yeah, you did.
You did say
You
that.
backed that.
Okay, well, it's okay. Some of them are not doing it right, and some of them are not doing it at all. What we do know is 40% of people are doing it correctly, and when they're audited, it's fine.
So the question really that's hanging in the air is, how do we know if we're doing it right or wrong?
Yeah, who's going to tell us if we're doing it correctly?
Can I just share something from my experience that fits with that question? So earlier in my career, I was much more focused on hands-on technical safety advice. I then got a role which was much more strategic management. So in terms of my personal career development, to grow into that role, I was working much more down in the transferable management skills. So having those different sections allowed me to look at, did I want to stay in the role I'd been in, or did I want to look at developing in a different direction? Also in the past, before a lot of this, I did change industry sector. So I would have probably used those differentials there to focus on where did I want to plan my personal development to move from one sector to the other. So it would have been perhaps, you know, new professional skills rather than maintenance of skills, which I would have used if I'd stayed in the same sector. So I think it's important that when you look at, you do your self-assessment of where you are, look at what career thing you want to do, and you use this as a planning tool. If all you're doing is filling this in order, hopefully, to one day get across the line or over the hurdle of the next grade, it probably doesn't matter a lot to you. But what I would urge people to do is think about your career development, use this as a tool to help you, and trust that if you get it right, you will actually meet the requirements of any hurdles you're asked about. Not try and work out, how do I cheat the test in the minimum work required? You'll probably get it wrong with that way. Yeah, so, you know, blueprint as the planning tool. I don't know if you're going to, was you plan to cover any of that?
No, it's not my remit, I'm sorry.
We've got a presentation on blueprint later in the year.
Does that help you with that specific question?
Not really, I still don't understand the significance of it.
why can't we just have one heading and then the drop-down box where I can select it goes in this? We've got the kind of the interface we've got, the user tool we've got. That's why there's a working group which kind of says, how can we improve it? And let's find out what's not working. But that's why by identifying the different areas, it helps you focus as part of that development going forward. And how, like I say, if you're doing a review, what's the word I'm looking for? At work. Appraisal, that's the word. It's very easy to sit down and go, actually, this is where I am, or I'm really struggling in this area. This is why I need you to pay for you to go on this training course to keep up with this, because you require me to have that. The law requires that I am able to give you competent advice. So it's a useful tool that you can use to reinforce time for applying for your next job, reinforcing your current job.
So coming back to the point that was made, all I want to know is am I doing it right or wrong?
There's no right or wrong way, like I said. Don't worry about it. Your own professional development is personal to you, and that's the key. Your CPD is going to be totally different to the gentleman sitting next to you, obviously, because you've got different strengths and weaknesses all the time. You're in different roles, you know. So we're not going to look at your CPD and say you've put that activity in the wrong box, are we, Zoe? We don't look at it that detail. No one's going to penalise you because you've put something that you've learnt brand new in maintenance of skills. You know, use it for your tool, for your benefit. How it's easy. If it's easier for you to put it all in one box, that's fine. You know, no one's going to tell you off for doing that.
Say that actually. Could you just say what you do look for? You've already said it's part of the development review or the reflective statement.
Yeah, of course.
That's probably what the detail we're looking for when we're
Okay.
saying, am I doing it right?
Yeah.
What you're looking for.
There's three main things to be compliant, really. And it's the main one is to have CPD recorded within the last 6 months. Okay, if you've got an activity in there within the last 6 months that you've put in, your CPD is not going to be flagged up to us saying that you're non-compliant. Okay, but to make it even better, make sure that you've got at least 6 activities in per 12 months. Okay, as a minimum, and then also to have an up-to-date development plan as well. And then the most important part in all that is, like I was saying, is to have reflective accounts for each activity you've recorded. And that is best practice then. If you're doing all that, you know, you're on a roll, you've got it, you're A star in your CPD. Does that help?
Maybe you could put those as the objectives.
Yeah.
We know what we're aiming at.
Yeah.
Targets.
Yeah.
Possible to get those simple statements on there as a header. I know you've got the
Yeah.
FAQs and
Yeah.
those simple.
It's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, we are reviewing it. Zoe's working on to review and improve the system a lot more. She probably knows more about it than me at that sort of stage of how it's going to look. But yeah, anything like that, any comments you've got, you know, where we could improve, then it's great. But yeah, if you're doing that, then you're never going to get a reminder email from us. You know, you're not going to get one of them, please update your CPD. It's been too long.
How many reminders do people get before they get strung out? Sufficient reminders.
Well, it's a good question, really. I mean, it's a hard one because we, you know, when they have had that many reminders, you know, it does trigger for them to call us. And when they call us, we do say, look, we can help you as a one-to-one over the phone. We're not here to throw any members out. You know, that's not our aim. We are predominantly, I mean, my job is to help people with their development. That is my job, you know, and there's quite a few of us in the office that is their job to do. So it's not IOSH, you know, it's not our status to say, oh, we're going to throw you out because you're not keeping your CPD up to date. We're there to help you to keep it up to date, basically. I don't think it ever gets in to that point where people are constantly getting reminders and they just don't touch it. We always get the calls and they say, you know, how can you help me?
What's the most amount of reminders that you issue?
Well, they do go out automated, so we're not always aware, you know, it's an automated trigger point, so yeah.
Can I just ask
Sorry.
how many people have renewed their membership yet this year? Were you asked to renew your membership if you cut your CPD?
Yeah, go on.
Well,
Take it in
okay,
turn.
that's fine. Carry on.
I'm never likely to do management. I don't do management, any of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, I'm never going to go into that
No.
field.
No, don't worry about it. But if you are doing non-health and safety related work, you know, that can go into D as
I
well.
don't have time to do non-health. I barely have enough fun to do the health and safety side.
Well, sometimes we just need a seminar or something on, I don't know, something within your company that's keeping you up to date.
We'll do one more question,
Something like
Tracy,
that.
and then
Yeah,
we'll move on in
yeah.
your
Sorry.
your-
Yeah.
One thing that puzzles me, because
Yeah.
I do all of this,
Okay.
with the exception, my feeling, my development plan should be reviewed, it's getting quite ancient now, but everything is kept up to date, all
Yeah.
of that, all the reflections, things like that. And then when I seconded Steve Osborne for standing on council, I was actually told, no, your CPD is not up to date.
Are you?
If I'm doing all the things you're saying,
Yeah.
isn't that right way of doing it and all of that, why do I couldn't care less, but, you know.
And you had something in there within the last 6 months as well, quite recent.
Oh, it's all
Yeah,
okay. I mean,
yeah.
it's update, you know, and within a month,
Yeah.
you know, I keep updated as I go along.
Okay. Did they actually say it's not up to date or it's not detailed enough or?
I'm not up to date.
Hey, I might have yours. Right, Tracy, let's move on.
We'll have to look at that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well that's it anyway for the presentation. I thought there was more screenshots, but I'm going on. Have I got time to do the online demonstration? Yeah. Okay. Someone can. Situation really. I mean, you know, if it is easier for you to, I don't know if you have like when you're dyslexic to speak into the computer instead of typing or anything like that. You know, it's a case of copying and pasting instead. I mean, anyone can do that anyway, but there's other things, especially when we progress to IPD, because you know it's more involved and we have got like longer lengths of time to complete it and things like that for them.
Right, carry on.
Am I okay to sit down? Okay, so IOSH website, we've logged in, go to my IOSH. Okay, you'll see that okay in your way. Okay, then on the left-hand side, you've got My CPD. Click onto that one. And then in the middle, update your CPD online now. Click onto that one. Okay, that will take you into your CPD records. And as you can see on this one, we don't have a development plan in place. Okay, and this is what you'll see as a big flashing yellow box. So this is something you need to do if you haven't got one. Simple to do. Click on Add New Activity. Now this button here is important because it's really the only button you'll ever need, really, add it when you add a new activity. Okay, so adding the development plan is very similar to adding activity. Click on Add New Activity. Okay, and then in title, all you need to type in there is development plan. So it's easily identifiable to anyone who's going to look at your CPD. You can change this status. All you need to do is click the drop down arrow if you want to change the status, this applies to every activity that you input, and you've got either planned, started, finished, cancelled. So I'm going to change this from finished to started, and then I'm going to put the dates in. Okay, just scroll down a little bit more so you can see this. So you can click on the calendar, just there, and then I'm just going to put today's date in. So I'm going to click on there, 9th of March today. End date, I'm just going to do it for 3 months. So June.
Could you put in an old one that you finished? Could you put dates before today?
Yeah, you can do it from when your CPD started. Okay, won't let you go back before that. But when you logged in, went to CMIOSH, you'll see your start date, anything from that. So my end date, just click on the arrow there after today. If you want to change the year, it's the double arrow. And I'm going to do 9th of June. So when 9th of June comes round, you can go back in and put a new paragraph in. So we need to put our roles and responsibilities. Okay, and a little paragraph about that. And then we want aims and objectives. What are my aims and objectives? Pop them in there. And then future goals, aspirations, where are my strengths and weaknesses? Anything you want to do, pop it in there. And perhaps you want to list some activities you want to include within your actual next 3 months CPD. You can put them in there as well. Okay, so you've got a little statement there. You're looking at where you are at the moment and where you want to be. Okay, so that sort of outlines what you're doing, tells you about what's included in your roles and responsibilities, etc. That box will extend however big you want it to. Okay. Now this bit here, documentation, is an option to upload files. We'll never ask for any evidence for your CPD, so don't worry about collecting evidence. But some people do like to keep it all together. So if you do want to upload anything, that option is there for you. Okay. So you just go to basically upload file, find it on your computer, browse, and click upload. Now the next bit, activity type, what we spoke about, you've got a section A. All you need to do is tick that box. Okay, so it will sit and save in section A because it's your development plan.
So
Yeah.
could somebody upload like something of their appraisal there?
Yeah.
Part of the development?
Anything. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And do you still have to press the save button to save anything?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just come into that part. So.
Really sorry.
And no, that's fine. anything you do on here, you need to make sure you press save. Any changes, even if you're about to edit, make sure you always press save. Otherwise, if you press cross, it will disappear. So just click save, and there's your development plan. All right, that's in there. It's saved. That's done. All right. So next part, we want to add a new activity. So again, we go to add new activity. And we put in, as you can see, it's the same style, the title of what we've done. Okay, so CPD presentation at BAWA Bilton. Okay, I'm going to keep it as finished because it's today, so I'm going to keep it finished. Put today's date in, just click on the calendar, click today, end date is today, click that. And then some notes. So what was it about? Why did you want to do it in the first place? And then learning outcomes, benefit. And then future, you know, what you're going to do in the future with it. You're going to move it going forward, use it going forward. Okay. So you're going to type a little paragraph in there, what you learnt. Again, you've got the upload option if you want to. Perhaps you've got a certificate. Perhaps it was a day's course and you've got a certificate at the end of it. You can upload the certificate. Then you know it's all kept in one place. This time we're going to ignore section A because it's an activity. Now, did it maintain my skills? Well, I knew a bit about CPD, but I did learn something today. I learned that we don't have to save credits anymore. So I'm going to put one in maintenance, a tick in maintenance and a tick in new professional skills and press save. Okay. So that's adds an activity. Now, if you want to have a quick view of everything you've got in there, click Expand All Sections and then scroll down. There's quite a lot in here because we use it as a demonstration. But there you'll find it there, saved in there. Okay, so it's in maintenance. And then you'll also find it, because we clicked on here, it's also in new professional skills. Okay.
So is that a new thing, being able to put it in more than one section? You only do one before.
No, it's always been there. When we had the credits, you could put 2 in maintenance and 1 in new professional skills.
Tick them all.
Yeah. And then, if you want to change it, you click back into it, and I just need to add. I found it very useful, or perhaps you didn't. You know, perhaps it didn't meet your expectations. You can put that in there as well. And then I don't think it met my new professional skills, so I'll untick that box and click Save. Change my mind. And then now when you scroll down, it'll just be in maintenance of skills there, and it won't be in new professional skills anymore.
So it overwrites each time.
Yeah, you can change whatever you need. Nothing's set in stone. So perhaps you've got 10 minutes one Friday afternoon thinking, right, I'm gonna go in, set my development plan up. I haven't got time to type in the notes yet. You need to type something in there, but you don't need to type everything. Tick section A. I'm going to go back to that next weekend and fill it in. You know, it's there for you. Use as you want to use it.
If you've got, can you just upload a certificate? Will that suffice, or do you still need to put something in?
No, you have to put text in the boxes.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise it won't save. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So if you picked up some information, like well, we know today that under CDM, as a principal contractor, I'm still liable for the directly employed people.
Yeah.
3 or 4 tiers down if they have an accident on site.
Yeah.
So if I then record that, pass it through to my employer, and then we change our process accordingly, then that's the kind of thing we want to put down in the future.
Yeah, because also from that, you're going to learn quite a bit as well, aren't you? You know.
Lawyers, don't you?
Yeah. You know, you're going to, perhaps someone's going to give you a piece of information that you've not heard about before, about something that wasn't related to it. You know, you're going to go away and research that. Perhaps it's going to the HSE website or having a look at IOSH policies, you know, something like that. And then you can go back in and say, well, this added to my next activity as well, which I want to improve my knowledge on, say, confined space management, something like that, I don't know. Yeah? Right, so what we've got underneath here as well is, just go back to the top. I'm just going to collapse all sections. Okay, what we've got is that you've got a box for planned activities, started activities, cancelled activities. Okay, so on that little status where you've got the drop down arrow, if you are using it as a diary, you know, you're going to have planned activities in there. So you mark it as planned. Okay, that will sit in that box once you save it. If you've started it, perhaps it's an ongoing project. Perhaps it's going to take 2 or 3 months and you've started it, but it's not yet finished. Pop it under started, it'll sit under there. And then if you are planning things, obviously things are going to get cancelled, aren't they? So, you know, mark it as cancelled and it will go into that section there, okay? And then you know if you've got anything in there that you need to go back into them once they've finished, add to the reflective account and put it into either B, C or D.
Flag up and got a cancelled or started. So if you put something in and get back, does it give a little flag for work?
No, it's not that sophisticated, I'm afraid. Did you have a question?
I put something in the started activities a while ago when I was doing MVQ, and then I forgot I put it in there, and I can put it in the activity then separately. Can I go? I didn't appear to be able to delete it out of the started activity.
No, that's the thing with CPD, we don't let you delete anything.
Even though I've actually got it duplicated.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, what we say to members is just mark it as cancelled and pop it into there. It's not going to go against you. I mean, the reason we don't have the deleted button is, you can imagine people are going to click that by mistake, you know, and if they've put a lot of work into the reflection, we can't get that back for you. So it's a disappointment to you. So that's why we have that there. I think personally we should perhaps have a deleted items box, but it's not a problem. Just mark it as cancelled. Is everyone okay with that, or do you need me to show you another how to add activity?
After 3 months, and you go back to your development plan, you have to create another development plan.
No, you always keep the same one. So what you'll do is you'll go back into the one you've set up, click on it, and then if you want to put an updated paragraph, just enter, perhaps put today's date in.
Right, so you can edit the notes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, anything on it's editable. New development plan. And then what you do is you extend your end date. So we're on the 9th of June now. I want to plan for the next 3 months, September now. So I'm going to end it in go back into it in September. But just remember to press save once you've made those changes.
So is it a problem? I tend to do the yearly one. And then
Okay.
once I've finished, then I do
You've done a new one.
So I think I've got a few development plans.
Yeah, you're not on your own. Don't worry about that. That's fine. As long as you've got a development plan. Yeah.
So could your development plan be the IOSH branch meeting list? This is my development plan to attend all of these, save it, and that's it done.
Yeah.
Any excuse.
But what is that benefit? How is that benefiting you though? What benefit does that give to you? Because you'd have their meetings in a diary or in an Outlook calendar anyway. You've got to look at how you're going to develop on those meetings. You know, if that's the only thing you've got to develop on, is doing branch meetings, put things in what you're going to do, not just the title or the date of the branch meeting. That's not going to benefit you. But yeah, see what you're getting at there. Did you have a question?
What about attending various things with no skills or what used to be no points awarded? Is that still within the plan where you've got a lot of something you've got absolutely nothing out of it?
Yeah, of course. Put that in. Be honest. So you attended it, why you attended it, and then you said, oh, it didn't benefit me at all. You're still recording CPD. It's still going to keep you up to date, as in our eyes. You know, perhaps it's not developing you as a person because you didn't get anything out of it. But then you know, perhaps in a year's time, that opportunity again to repeat that process comes up. But you can look back at your CPD and think, I'm not going on that again. It didn't give me any benefit.
Sorry, can I just say on that one, you could in fact in the future tick the future box and make that note, actually in the future I'm going to pick events where, or I'm going to try and do more. So it's at least a commentary in that of why you didn't get anything out of it and what you're going to be looking for in the future.
Yeah.
What's the best practice when you pick something up from maybe reading the IOSH magazine?
That's again reflecting on how you've used that article. You know, some people have a read of the IOSH magazine, they pick something out of it. Quite a lot of our members, you know, they'll read the courtroom articles and they'll realise how much, you know, what's happened to a company because of that accident, for example. They'll need to disseminate that knowledge to perhaps hire, you know, heads of departments or whoever's in charge of those workers that are at risk. You know, you're taking that information forward, and you're it's going to benefit your organisation because you're going to go and say, well, this organisation has just been sued for X amount of millions. We need to do something about this to stop it happening here. You're learning from that process, so you're going to reflect in that way.
Do you have any examples of what good development entries look like and what good reflective accounts look like?
In your book there, you've got some examples. We don't tend to give a lot of examples on CPD because, again, it's personal to you. You know, we want you to put in your own CPD that's personal to you, and you know, it's going to be all different. But yeah, there are examples in there for you. Sort of how much more content and quality-wise rather than what it should be.
Now we don't start a separate development plan.
Yeah.
It's continual. Is there any limit to how big it can be
No.
in space?
No.
It's limitless.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
it'd be like a log, wouldn't it?
So is that true? The development plan box it's limitless, isn't it?
It isn't private.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So, one question, when you finish a plan and reflect on it,
Yeah.
does it, or is there an option, or should there be an option to email you to go, you've done this, blah, 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 reply to the email, reflection, because then you've got that instant, oh, actually, that was cancelled, or I'm doing this, reply above this line and go straight back in, or a link to go straight in.
Yeah, it's quite technical, but yeah.
That, otherwise,
Yeah.
on some of those, it's just a case of, this is an ongoing, I don't want a finish date for this, you know.
Yeah, that's true. So when it gets to that date, it sort of flags up, do you mean? Yeah.
I thought that's pretty much standard now, because then
Yeah.
your communication doesn't have to use the IOSH CPD, you can do it by your email, like communication just in email, and people are much more likely to just tap something in there.
And it auto saves it.
Get a password reset, put it in
Yeah.
every 3 months.
That's a good idea. Yeah, definitely.
There's no issues from IOSH regarding using a CPD for other professional membership, CPD records. I do that with IEMA. I keep my environmental stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to a lot of members are members of other professional institutions, so it's going to overlap definitely. Yeah, there's no reason why you can't duplicate it or anything like that.
I'm certainly happy with when I sent mine down the track I've got for them. Yeah, they
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously you've got to input it again. If you're using another like IEMA's CPD, you need to input it again. But it's we're not going to say, oh, it's duplicated. We don't see that, So, but we want you to use it for an IOSH benefit as well. So, yeah, it's what you're getting out health and safety wise as well.
Can I just comment on that? That is something we want to hear from members as for the working party. We want to hear, we don't want you to be duplicating effort.
Yeah,
As a professional, you need, yeah, so we want to hear about ideas and best practice in that. So, the IOSH platform for recording CPD is as accessible as possible for other members to record
Yeah.
other professional bodies that members are. There are arrangements in place with the professional bodies, isn't there?
Yeah, if you're a doctor, for example, you can send in your CPD certificate for that. Obviously, something like a doctor that they've got to keep CPD up to date.
Yeah,
So
we're not like GPs, whereas if you don't do your CPD,
you get struck off.
you are struck off.
Yeah, no.
Not yet. How do we just take you've done your plan, and then, I don't know if people like me, but lots of things happen and there's an opportunity arises. What do you then do? It's not in my plan at all,
Yeah.
but suddenly I've been asked to do something completely different. Then
Okay.
what do you do?
Well, your plan's not set in stone, so you go back into your development plan, and that's something you improve on within your development plan. Is I was asked to do this, obviously record it as an activity as well, so that's showing in there. But when you go back in and update your plan, that's exactly what things can change. When you type in, I've done this, met this objective, but then something come up that I was asked to do a whole new learning curve, so I've improved my knowledge this way.
Right, more questions? How are we doing? Now what's next?
If everyone's happy with CPD, then I'll move on to IPD. Have I covered everything on the board there?
Right, the question is, assurance that what we are doing is correct. Happy?
Yes.
What should we be recording?
Everything.
At least 6 things a year.
Yeah.
Then you've complied. Evidence, what evidence? We don't need any. It's an honour statement. Better if you do have it, but it's an honour statement, isn't it?
It's your choice.
Action plan, what to do and how to match the development plan. So, yes? Happy?
Yeah.
Self-development plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any correlation between being audited and not doing a CPD and getting the reminders?
No.
The criteria, if you are audited in CPD, is it going to focus mainly specifically on the respect of the council, or is it like 6 entries a year? If actually been
Generally, it will be that you've updated in the last 6 months. You've got a minimum of 6 activities per 12 months. You've got an up-to-date development plan and the reflections.
So basically, that's all an audit is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when will we looked at in detail? When will we be scrutinised in detail?
If you're going for a change in category, so what we call category transfer, so if you're moving it through any of the categories, then you're going to it depends what category really, but if you're going from affiliate to tech, then what we require now is a development plan in place to get you in mode of doing your CPD once you are at tech. If you're going from tech to grad, it's definitely got to be up to date, okay, all those requirements. And if you're going from grad to chartered, that's the time when you definitely will be audited. And again, it's got to have those things in.
Over what period before the application time is it actually looked at? So I started doing this 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So will they look at 7 years ago, or will they look at last year only?
It depends what sort of, yeah, it depends. If you've not done anything for that whole 7 years and you've put something in for the last 12 months, we're going to have to need something in there. Depends what sort of status you're at. Yeah.
On IPD, when you start IPD, I've been told you can only include stuff that you're using in the past 2 years when you did it, because it's a 2-year relevance, because actually you should still be...
IPD, yeah, that's a different kettle of fish altogether, yeah. I'm going to go on to talk about that.
Right, we have
We need to start today.
Yeah, do it.
That's the question you were working your way around.
Yeah. No one's exempt.
no one's said. Right, happy? We move on? Okay. Fine.
Okay, I'll just get the presentation up. Do you need?
Can we just ask a question? How many people in the room are either tech or grad IOSH?
So IPD then, a short presentation again, and then if anyone's interested, I can go on to the online demonstration. IPD stands for Initial Professional Development, okay? What happens is, only our graduate members can enrol for IPD, because once you're a graduate member, then obviously you can proceed to becoming a chartered member through our IPD scheme. Okay? So you register for IPD, there is a fee for that, it's £160. That will give you 2 years, okay? Your IPD will be activated, and then you'll do an assessment process. Now, what you do in the IPD is dependent on what qualification you've gained to get to graduate membership, okay? So what we've got is a skills development portfolio. Now that's a skills development portfolio of evidence, so it's showing you what you do on a day-to-day basis, okay? You do the skills development portfolio if you've done either the CMIOSH diploma, one of our accredited degrees, or what we call, there's a new qualification from the NCRQ, I don't know if anyone's got that in this room, they do a level 6 in applied health and safety diploma as well. So there's sort of like 3 options there. If you've done an MVQ level 4 or 5 in occupational health and safety practice, then you'll do something called the open assessment, okay? Some cases, some people will do both. That's normally if you've done a degree in a discipline that's not health and safety based. So for example, perhaps you've done one on environmental, but it has got health and safety modules in, but it's not one of our accredited qualifications. That's what we call a cognate degree. So we assess that for the health and safety content for you to become graduate. And that on that basis, you'll do the portfolio and the open assessment. Once you've successfully completed the portfolio and or open assessment, you'll go on, what we're talking about, to have your CPD audited. Okay. Now, what happens if you do pass the CPD audit? You go on to book your peer review interview. If you don't pass the CPD audit, then we give you advice, you make those changes, you have another CPD audit, and we'd keep doing that till you get through, and then you're at the stage to attend the peer review interview. So as I said, who can do it? Only graduate members are eligible. IPD is not compulsory, you don't have to do it, okay? But graduate membership is seen as a stepping stone to get you to chartered membership. It was never put in place for members just to sit at graduate membership. If you are been sitting there for a while, don't worry, you know, it's not a problem, but it was initially put in place so you progress basically your membership, okay? If you don't complete it within the 2-year period, you know, there is an opportunity to carry on, but it means you'd have to re-register and repay the fee as well. Okay. So the skills development portfolio then, it's all online for you. So similar to going into your CPD, it's a very similar way. Click on, log into My IOSH, go to My IPD, which is the one under this My CPD. You will only be able to access that once you've registered and paid your fee. Okay, it's a very similar process to an MVQ. So what we're asking for is evidence of your work that you do. It's a lot smaller than an MVQ though, because you only need to choose 7 criteria from the 5 different elements, okay? There is 24 different performance criteria on there, and you choose 7 that fit your relevant work role, okay? You upload your evidence of work electronically, and we've got a lot of minimum guidance on the system and examples for you, okay? So if you follow the online system, there is a lot of help on there for you. And as the gentleman said, you can backdate your evidence for your portfolio as far as 2 years. So don't think you can just, once you register, you can only include what work you've done since you registered. You can backdate it 2 years. Okay. So, each performance criterion requires an outline or summary of proposed work and intended outcomes, an activity log, and a reflective account with indexed evidence attached. So each 7 performance criterion, you're going to have sort of like a block of work for each criterion you do, all right? You can actually submit the criterion individually, so you don't wait till you've completed the whole portfolio and then submit it to the assessor. If you are unsure of your work, please do submit it individually, because that helps you keep you on the right track, okay? Don't worry about failing this process. No one can fail the portfolio. What happens is, if you submit your criteria to the assessor and he comes back, he's going to come back, or she's going to come back and say, I just need some more evidence regards to this criteria, or I need some more detail on a reflective account. They're going to give you constructive feedback. They're not going to say this is not good enough, okay? You're not going to fail it. It's an ongoing process. Once you submit a criteria, the assessor will, 2 to 3 weeks, come back to you with the feedback. You might find it's been accepted and locked straight away, you know, and you don't have to wait in those 2 to 3 weeks to start the next one. Perhaps you'd want to start the next one in that time. But it is quite quick, turnaround is quite quick. The allocated assessor you get at the beginning will always be your allocated assessor through the whole thing. Okay, so in that sense, you sort of build up a one-to-one relationship with your allocated assessor, because they know what sort of work you're doing, what sort of work evidence you'll have available, etc., as you go along. As I said before, not everybody completes the portfolio. People who have done an MVQ, City and Guilds or any other training body, MVQ 4 or 5 can go through to grad, and they can then do the open assessment. Now, the open assessment takes place every month. We try and run it every month. I don't believe we've got one in April this year because of Easter. I don't think we've got one in June because it's our big conference week. But other than that, and Christmas period, we have it every month. It's available for a 14-day period. Now, when you register for your IPD and pay your £160, don't automatically think that registers you for an open assessment date. It doesn't. We do send you a registration form to register for an open assessment date. Okay, so you'll need to send that form back to us or give us a call and we can book you on the date you want. Okay, now what advice I would give to our members doing the open assessment is to make sure you leave that time period you've got free. Okay, the biggest comments we get back when people fail the open assessment is that they didn't leave enough time to do it, enough free time. Okay, it's a 14-day period that you get to do it in, but you get actual 7 complete days within that 14-day period to complete it.
So this is for people with NVQs, this is Tech IOSHs who want it, no, grad IOSHs, so you've got to done this to get to grad, so you haven't got a cognizant degree, but you've got an NVQ or something else, you follow that route.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you've got a cognate degree, you will have to do this as well as the portfolio. Okay. Yes, yeah, and that's what, yeah, and that's why we do it for. We do recommend that you do start it as soon as you can when it starts. So, for example, we had one start yesterday, the March one started yesterday, and I would recommend that if you can, start it on that day in case you have any technical difficulties. If you can't though, you know, majority, I mean, I look after the open assessment and I have to track it every day once it starts, and I find a lot of people obviously are going to start it on Saturday. You know, they've got that free time. What you have to do is once you go in and it has started, you've got part A to complete. Now, part A is 48 multiple choice questions, and you've got a session of 3 hours, and it's one sitting. You can't save it and go away. You get those 3 hours that you have to dedicate to do the 48 multiple choice questions. Now, 3 hours is very generous for 48 multiple choice questions. Okay, you probably won't need that time, but that is there for you if you need it. But it's not something that you can save, go away and come back into it, log back in, it'll still be there. You know, it is there for you to complete in one sitting. Once you've completed that, what will happen is you'll get your score straight away. So the computer will generate your score and it'll be either a pass or a fail. If it's a pass, you can go into part B straight away. If it's a fail, then you'd need to register for another date and take it again. Yeah. There's not, I'm afraid, no. What happens with the questions, they're so broad, we have such different questions each time. There's a massive bank. We can't possibly give you examples. Okay, what we can say is they're all graded at degree level, and you know, it's all going to be health and safety. What we do provide on the online system, once you've registered, there is a dummy quiz. Now that is to get you used to using the system. Okay, the questions are not based on health and safety. Okay, it's just to get you in the mode of where the submit button is, where you need to go to the next page to get you familiar. But unfortunately, no. The only thing we ask you to prepare for the open assessment is we provide a syllabus of the criteria that the questions will cover. And we ask you to familiarise yourself with that syllabus. Now, it is quite a big syllabus, and obviously it's a big criteria. But yeah, have a read through it, and also the guidance we provide as well. Have a look through that as well. We don't recommend any textbooks or studying previous to that at all. Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's looking at where you're going to research and how you're researching it. Did you have a question?
I didn't have the question. I had where you had 2 weeks to do something like, I don't know, 20 questions or whatever it was.
You did the old
20?
paper base.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think it was 15, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it was, and some were 8 marks and some were 20.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what we've improved for the online.
So what's the pass mark? What is the pass rate for this one?
Part A is 55%, Part B is 50%.
Okay, so it's still quite tough then.
Yeah.
Not much harder than a CSCSS got then.
Yeah.
Right, more, are we okay to move on?
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, so then once you pass Part A, you go on to Part B. Part B is 2 scenario-based questions, and you get 7 days to complete that. So that's the 7 days, basically. You've done your 3 hours. You go on and complete your 7 days. Part B. Now, Part B is scenario-based questions. Okay, so they're expecting essay-style answers. Have a look at the maximum word count. It'll always be 700 words. They don't want any more than that in your answers. If you do go over the 700 words, they'll ignore it. They won't mark you on it. Okay, so make sure your answers are within 700 words. You'll have 2 questions, and they require research. You know, you could be asked about anything. They're not necessarily going to be in your health and safety remit. You know, there could be a question on health and safety in the hairdressers, a health and safety in a graveyard, health and safety in a coma site, in a factory. Could be anything. Okay. So once you've passed the open assessment and or the skills development portfolio, you've had your CPD audited, you can attend a peer review interview. Now we do hold them in UK locations, not just in Leicester. We hold them actually just down the road at IOSH West, at the Hilton there, so not too far away. You know, at the moment, you're looking at about a 2-month wait for an interview, depending on where you want to go. Okay, we are looking to put a lot more on, and we have got a lot more planned this year. So hopefully that wait will go down a little bit. But yes, once you pass your CPD audit, give us a call. We can book you on, well, the events team will book you on, the location and date you want. If you can't travel or you are overseas on work or overseas anyway, and you still want to do your interview, not a problem. We can do it via video link. We use a software system called Zoom, very similar to Skype. We can do it that way. You do have to pay for your interview. If you come to Leicester, then it is £80. If you go externally, it's £95. The interview itself is made up of a PowerPoint presentation. So you have to do a PowerPoint presentation all about yourself, based on you, up to 10 minutes in length. All they're looking for is how you got into health and safety in the first place, roles and responsibilities, any challenges you've got, and any future improvements or any future goals and career aspirations you've got within that 10 minutes, okay? After the 10 minutes, you will be interviewed by a panel of up to 3 of your peers. So these could be chartered members, chartered fellows. You won't know them. And the interview won't last any longer than an hour in length for you. So it's 10 minutes of your presentation and then 40 to 50 minutes question and answer session. Okay, you will get your outcome within 21 working days. Might be a lot sooner than that, normally is. What happens is we'll notify you via email in the first instance, and then we'll send you a letter in the post with your certificate and badge. And you will be transferred straight away. You don't have to wait for another category transfer audit or anything like that. You will be transferred to chartered straight away. 92% of our candidates coming in for interview first time do pass. We have got a very high pass rate, but some people are unsuccessful. And if you are, you will have feedback provided from the panel, and you will have to come again for another interview. And the normal waiting time for that, because of improvements that you have to make, is 12 months.
Common failings for the small percentage that don't make it?
Honestly, I would say it's nerves. Yeah.
Presentation skills and interview skills.
Yeah, you're not going to be at that point if you don't know your stuff, or you don't, can't answer the questions. People tend to get really, really nervous. Understandable. They could have a lot holding on the CMIOSH. It could be a promotion, it could be another job. And we do our best to try and calm those nerves. And the panel are trained to make you feel at ease, put you at ease. They've all been in your situation. They've all attended an interview. They know exactly how you're feeling. So they do account for nerves. But sometimes people, just when they're put on the spot, they sort of clam up, they forget what they need to say. Yeah, so that tends to be it. Okay, and that's it, the IPD. It's that's the process. I have got the online demo if you want it, or any questions.
Questions first? Any questions? Right, who wants online demo?
Yeah, it's very quick, so it won't be long.
In for a penny, in for a penny.
So you've got my CPD there. Under there, you've got my IPD. Now you'll only get the next page tab if you've registered. So you'll get this bit if you've not. But if you've registered, you'll get your IPD online now. Okay, and you need to go into there. Now again, this is the demonstration one, so it has got a lot at the top. If you're on skills development portfolio only, you'll only see the first 5. If you're on open assessment, you'll only see the 2 at the end there. Okay, so it depends what route you are on. The home page is all about IPD, why you should do it, what's involved, what you get out of it. The second tab along is messages. Now this messages here is basically any notifications you've got. So perhaps the assessor on your portfolio is going to give you a message. Your activity open assessment is all logged there as well. You've got a help tab, okay, so if you are doing the portfolio, this is the place to go. You've got step-by-step guidance and a video of how to actually use the system, okay, and then you've got an actual reflective account log. So that's what you'll need to upload a reflective account. Now, the reflective accounts on the portfolio are a lot different to reflective account in your CPD. They're a lot more in-depth, a lot more involved, looking at one side of A4 content-wise. Okay, you have got examples. You've got 2 examples there of different reflective accounts to help you. And you've also got something called deficiency codes. Now, that's what that means is if the assessors marked your work and they come back with further work required, basically, they might just summarise it in a deficiency code for you. They will put extra text on, but also give you a deficiency code. Have a look on there. You can see what it means. It'll explain it for you. FAQs. Some people work for organisations that don't let any information out. If anybody does that, then there's evidence and confidentiality issues there and guidance. And a common question, what happens after your skills development portfolio has been passed, which is to have your CPD audited and attend an interview. So you've got a lot of help and guidance there. The next tab across is about your criteria. Now, don't get daunted by this page. Again, it's a demonstration purposes only. You've got a lot on here. You won't need to do all this. There's only 7 that you'll need to complete on here out of these. You won't see this first of all. When you first go into it, if you're new to it, you'll need to put in a bit of detail about yourself, okay? And then it will ask you to choose your criteria. Now, if anybody does want a summary of criteria, previous to paying, we have got leaflets at the back where you can have a look at the criteria that you need to do, okay? So that's there for you. But these are basically the criteria. Now, a common one that people complete is making a presentation at a meeting or seminar. Okay, now this is what your page looks like. So it's basically an outline and background part. So what are you aiming to get out of this one? And then if you scroll down, you've got your description. You have to put some text in there. So what you do within a criterion is break it down into different steps. Okay, so if you're doing a meeting, this one is giving a presentation at a meeting or seminar. And we're asking for a minimum of 4 activities and a minimum of 5 different pieces of evidence, okay? So you're going to break it down into steps. So how did you get to do that activity, presentation? Perhaps it was an email from your line manager asking you to give that presentation. So you'll describe that in the first activity, upload the email as evidence, okay? And then number 2 would be the research for the presentation. Perhaps it's on manual handling, you need to go and research it. Go away, do that, you've got that activity 2. Activity 3 is going to be your presentation itself, and then your evidence for that is going to be the presentation. And then 4 is perhaps you've got some feedback from the presentation you've given. You know, perhaps it was an email, you know, perhaps someone came up to you, you know, and praised you, you've made notes from that, or a meeting or anything like that. So that's that one. Done. You just go to upload evidence, click on upload, go to browse, find it on electronically on your desktop. There's quite a lot of boxes here. If you need to add a further activity, click on that one there, and then you'll need to upload your reflective account. Okay, and then you click save changes. Once all the minimum requirements are met on there, which is you've got your 4 activities, your 5 different pieces of evidence, you've filled in all your text box, all your dates, uploaded your evidence, uploaded your reflective accounts, you will get a submit button. Okay, so you'd submit it to the assessor.
So just a quick question on
Yeah.
so you know example
Yeah.
for the activity 4 about the feedback.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't get any feedback? So if you're at a seminar and you're presenting to a seminar,
Yeah.
or presenting to a conference, you may not necessarily get feedback on that.
Yeah, it's just an example. So it's however really what happens after your presentation can be evidence. So perhaps you could always ask someone, you know, what I say to people if they can't get evidence is ask people, say, look, trying to get to your chartered member for IOSH, you know, I need a piece of evidence to go on to my work. Can you just send me a quick email on how good my presentation was, or not even how good, was it useful to you? You know, something like along those lines. But that is totally an example I've just used. It doesn't have to be that. You know, you could use something else as evidence. You might have more research you can evidence. You might have 2 presentations you can put as evidence. As long as you've got 5 different pieces of evidence, that's fine.
We've had several members do presentations here.
Yeah.
We've then taken the feedback sheets from that meeting, you know, where it says, was the presentation good or not, and that's been their evidence. So we put out the feedback sheets on the chairs, they collect them in, that's their evidence that goes in for that.
They've given the presentation, you mean?
They've given the presentation.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Right, so they've actually got 3 pieces then.
Yeah.
Because they've got the advert that's gone in out.
Yeah, it'd need to have the name on. So if their name is on that they're speaking within that presentation, that's fine.
That's it.
Yeah. All we're asking for is something to assess you on your work you do practically. If you click on the blue line there, it will, I don't know if it will load on here. Yeah, it has. It will take you to more in-depth examples. Okay. This is basically what I've just been through. But that will happen on each criteria you pick. You will have an example sheet on there for you. Okay. Just close that. Okay. So once you've done that page and you submit it, you know, you can work on your next one, or you can wait to get feedback, and then work on your next one, because you know you're on the right track. It will give you more confidence to work on your next one, that you're doing it the right way.
We've got to use 7 of those.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then the last button there is just your status of how you're getting on. So it's basically a pie chart of how you're doing. So if you've had any signed off, it'll be green, yellow is in working mode, and then red is not yet worked on. Okay. And then the next thing, if you're on the open assessment, register, but once you've come to the day, so say you're on the March open assessment, for instance, now, because it started yesterday, you'd have 2 more tabs, because you'd have the Part A tab where you can complete the online open assessment multiple choice section. You'd also have the scenario-based questions tab as well. So again, we've got the open assessment guidance, the syllabus, what I was talking about earlier. So if you are going to do the open assessment, have a look at the syllabus. You need to prep, what you need to do to prep for the open assessment, requirements and guidance, rules and regulations. You've got a re-registration form there if you need to re-register. Description of action verbs. Now what that is you'll find the questions are written sometimes with different, what we call action verbs in. So it might say describe or list, or, you know, it's the difference between those words. It just helps you a little bit more. And again, what happens once you've passed the EOA, which is basically to have your CPD audited and attend a peer review interview. And then, as I was saying before, you've got the dummy quiz there. So that just gets you to have a look around the system for the multiple choice, see what you have to do, as in submitting your answers once you've done all 48.
So we don't start this until you can do it within 2 years. You can set aside the right time, and you're ready to go with all your stuff.
Yeah. Because what you don't want to do is run out of 2 years and have to re-register, because it's a waste of money.
Pay £160.
Yeah.
Any questions? How are we doing? Anything? Fine? Do you want to say anything down?
Did anyone find it useful?
Very. I've probably waited about 4 years trying to get my IPD finished, and now I think I can probably do it in the next 6 months. And what
Really?
what I've seen,
That's good.
just the level at which I've been pushing the documentation, been up here,
Yeah.
legally needs to be here.
Yeah.
Would you benefit from a mentor during that process to help you with that?
Most definitely.
What
Yeah.
was complete that
That was
further?
when I first did it and didn't finish it. I was
got
putting in
the
dissertation.
documents sitting there as evidence on my IPD.
I mean, what we find with members doing this process is they do overcomplicate it, or think they've got to have a good piece of work to submit, or like you say, high level work. It's not that, it's 100% health and safety based work you do, and you know, it just fits into that criteria. We just need something to assess you on, your competency of your work, everyday work, because you've done your degree, or did you do the IOSH diploma? You did do a postgraduate. So yes, you've done that. You've done your academic side. You know, this is assessing you on your work practicality side.
There's an interesting insight actually question what qualifications you've got, because obviously there are a range of qualifications that you can do to progress. People are doing the more vocational qualifications. This sort of practice is part of their qualification, is evidencing on the job work. Whereas if you've done a more academic qualification, you may not have an idea of what level of evidence is required to
I've
demonstrate.
never done an NPQ,
But
so
I'm
I've
just
never gone through that sort of vocation thing. I've always done that.
And that's why you have to do it.
Maybe
Yeah.
members who've done a more academic qualification, they may need that extra bit more information to just show them what level of
Yeah.
what level of
But that's why we put all the examples on there, and so they can have a look and see what's required. But people, it is based more on quality of the documents rather than quantity as well. So don't think you have to upload so much stuff as well. I mean, if you have got stuff within the last 2 years, it's a case of sitting down, collating it, fitting it into the requirements. If you're doing it going forward, it might take a little bit longer, but you might find it a bit easier to complete because it's fresh in your mind. You've got the evidence sitting in front of you.
At that point, I found this session much more useful than the years I've gone through trying to read the information on the website. second guess what I'm supposed to put in.
Yeah, I mean, in these circumstances, what you need to do is contact us. You know, give us a call. We have got a technical advisor in the office. What we say initially is to start it, see how you get on. The technical advisor's there, but you can email in your questions and he will answer those, and then we send them to you. Alternatively, we hold one-to-one sessions with him, which you can have over telephone, you don't have to travel. We do charge £30 for the hour for those sessions, but now from this year we have brought in a mentor scheme as well to help you. So if you do want to be assigned to a mentor, that can be set up. That is quite new, a new process for you. We do hold webinars once a month.
So that's why I just wanted to talk about
Yeah.
webinars, of how many people have experienced the webinar aspect of the CPD and IPD webinar sessions, and maybe the difference between that and this, because I've done both, and I've found this far more informative, far more explanatory.
With the webinar sessions, we have to do the presentation, but we do have that opportunity there if you ask questions. And what you do is you type your question and then we verbally answer it for you. But yeah, it's not the same. I mean, nothing's better than face-to-face, is it? You can't beat face-to-face, things like this. I mean, what we used to do in the past is workshops. And I used to travel the country and do IPD workshops, and we are looking into bringing that back, because what we are getting more focused on, again, what we used to do in the past was, like, I'd be an IPD officer and I'd have a group of members in my area, so I'd cover the south and London, and I'd cover that area and make sure my members were progressing and knew what to do. And we are looking into that, to bring that as a project back to make sure we are more forward facing for our members.
And could you say something? I work in higher education, but one of the things I look at is education as a whole and adult education. What we're finding is the reliance on online activities such as webinars, such as viewing, we're getting a drop off of retention of understanding and a fall back.
Yeah,
face to face.
yeah.
Will, you know.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next question, anybody who wants to go and have a sit with Zoe and look through what you do on your own stuff, she's free now. So if one of you wants to go and see what you do on your own stuff, do so. We've been talking a while now about setting up a peer support group, meeting up probably for an hour, hour and a half, once every 6 to 8 weeks-ish, for people who want to do this process, and then share ideas, share some knowledge between us. So if you want to do that, if you're interested in that sort of thing, come and leave me your name, number of contact, and we'll do that. Next question then.
Is there any limit to the number of times that you set the open assessment?
4.
2-year period.
4, yeah. You shouldn't need four times, but if you reach to about over 2, it will trigger us to give you a call and say, you know, you probably need to have a one-to-one session or something to make sure you're looking in the right place for your answers and things like that. Yeah, it's not very common that people will. If it does get to the 4 and you can't carry on, then you will have to go away and do another qualification if you want to get to chartered membership.
I did my in the open book, which I sort of allowed myself 2 weeks to sort of study and answer the questions.
Yeah.
What now is the average time for people doing it where they have to provide the evidence, and also how long would you recommend people who are doing the open assessment to allow themselves for? I mean, obviously they've got 3 hours for their part A.
Yeah.
But how long for part B?
Full 7 days.
Full 7
Yeah.
days, right?
That's why we give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's not something that a lot of people will go to work all day and think I can do this tonight.
no.
It doesn't work. You will fail it. Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, that's why that is the point we give you. I mean, you might get lucky and get a question, scenario question, part B question on your area. You know, it does sometimes fall like that, but I wouldn't rely on that. I would use the full 7 days, so don't register it until you can have at that free time.
And what about the average of those submitting their portfolio then? What was the average?
Yeah, that depends on the member and how quickly they want to achieve it. I've had someone yesterday, they registered at the end of January, he's submitted everything.
Yeah.
But we've got members that have been on it 5 years and still not done anything. So, you know, they've registered. I have someone last week registered for the 3rd time. I spoke to her and I said, I first spoke to you in 2008 about this. You know, it's nearly 10 years. So it depends on the member. The average time from when they register, if they do start it straight away and they're working through each criteria, going forward, they're not doing it like the last 2 years' work, submitting last 2, about 18 months, I would say. If you've got all the work together and you're just collating it, you've done it within the last 2 years, you could do it within a weekend. You know, it's just a case of filling in all the boxes, uploading all the evidence, filling in all the reflective accounts. It's how much you want it at the end of the day.
Okay.
So that can differ.
Any questions? More? Everybody happy? If anybody wants to join this group that will meet separately, small, come and leave me your number. And thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much, Zoe. Tracy.
Thank you.
And